Christopher Columbus was born in Genoa, Italy, way back in 1451. Genoa was a bustling port city filled with merchants, sailors, and explorers. Growing up in such an environment, Columbus was naturally drawn to the sea. The stories of adventures and treasures from distant lands filled his imagination and fueled his dreams. He loved the sea. He dreamed of faraway lands, and he spent his time looking at maps and charts of the stars. As a young boy, Columbus would often visit the docks, listening to the sailors' tales of their voyages. He was fascinated by the idea of exploring uncharted territories and discovering new worlds. His passion for navigation and exploration grew stronger with each passing day. Columbus was a religious man with big dreams. He wanted to sail west to reach the Indies, a shortcut to all the treasures of the East. His faith played a significant role in his life, and he believed that his mission was divinely inspired. He often prayed for guidance and strength, hoping that his dreams would one day become a reality. Some people thought he was crazy, but that just made him more determined. Columbus faced ridicule and skepticism from many who couldn't see the potential in his ideas. Despite the mockery, he remained steadfast in his belief that there was a new route to the Indies. He spent countless hours studying maps and charts, refining his plans and preparing for the journey he knew he was destined to undertake. Columbus believed in his idea so much that he asked kings and queens all over Europe to help him. He traveled from court to court, presenting his plans to monarchs and nobles, hoping to secure the necessary funding and support for his expedition. His persistence was unwavering, and he was determined to find someone who would believe in his vision as much as he did. He kept asking and asking, even when they said no. Rejection became a familiar experience for Columbus, but he never let it deter him. Each refusal only strengthened his resolve, and he continued to knock on doors, convinced that his breakthrough was just around the corner. His determination was a testament to his unwavering belief in his mission. Finally, Queen Isabella of Spain thought his plan might make her rich and famous, so she said yes. Queen Isabella saw the potential in Columbus's proposal and decided to take a chance on him. She believed that if he succeeded, it would bring immense wealth and glory to Spain. Her support was the turning point Columbus had been waiting for, and it marked the beginning of his historic journey. With the Queen on his side, Columbus got ready to sail into the unknown, following the setting sun toward the destiny he believed was waiting for him. The preparations for the voyage were extensive, and Columbus oversaw every detail. He selected his crew, gathered supplies, and ensured that his ships were ready for the long and perilous journey ahead. His excitement and anticipation grew as the day of departure approached. Even though some people didn't believe in him, Columbus knew in his heart that there were amazing things out there, treasures nobody had found yet. He was driven by a sense of destiny and a belief that he was meant to discover new lands. The skepticism of others only fueled his determination, and he remained focused on his goal, confident that his efforts would be rewarded. He was so sure it was like a bright light guiding him across the huge, dangerous ocean. Columbus's unwavering faith in his mission was like a beacon, guiding him through the challenges and uncertainties of the journey. As he set sail, he felt a sense of purpose and destiny, knowing that he was on the brink of a monumental discovery that would change the course of history. August 3, 1492. The sun came up over Palos de la Frontera, Spain. The shadows of three little ships stretched long across the ground: the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. Columbus and his crew, some experienced sailors and some young adventurers, set off on a journey into the vast, unknown Atlantic Ocean. Everyone was scared and excited, a powerful mix that made them brave. Weeks turned into months. The never-ending horizon, like a giant mirror reflecting their hopes and fears, became both their trap and their only hope. The sailors started to get restless. They were running out of food and water, and they were very afraid. Columbus, still believing in his mission, kept looking west. He promised them gold and glory to calm them down. Then, a good sign. Birds circled above the ships, their calls sounding like a song of hope. Pieces of wood from faraway lands floated on the water. Columbus promised them land was just over the horizon. October 12, 1492. A very important day. This date marks a pivotal moment in history, a day that would forever change the course of human events. It was the day when the Old World met the New World, a day filled with hope, dreams, and the promise of untold riches. A sailor shouted, "Tierra! Tierra! Land! Land! Breaking the quiet of the morning. The crew, weary from their long voyage, rushed to the deck, their eyes straining to see the distant shoreline. The sight of land brought a surge of excitement and relief, a promise of adventure and discovery. Columbus, his heart beating fast, stepped onto an island he named San Salvador. The sand beneath his feet felt like a new beginning, a tangible proof of his daring journey across the uncharted ocean. He believed he had found a new route to the East Indies, a land of spices and wealth. He had done it. He found a new world, a place full of possibilities. The crew celebrated, their spirits lifted by the sight of this lush, tropical paradise. Columbus gazed at the new land with a sense of wonder and accomplishment, dreaming of the glory and riches that awaited them. Columbus thought he had reached the East Indies. He studied his maps, convinced that this was the land of spices and gold he had been seeking. His mind raced with thoughts of the treasures that lay ahead, the fame and fortune that would be his. He met the Taino people. They were curious and welcoming, their culture and way of life vastly different from anything Columbus had ever seen. The encounter was filled with mutual curiosity and cautious optimism. Their brown skin and the language they spoke, which he didn't understand, amazed him. He marveled at their customs, their attire, and their way of life. To Columbus, they were a living testament to the diversity and richness of the world. He thought they were part of the great Khan's empire, that they could become Christians, and most importantly, that they could lead him to the legendary gold of the East. Columbus saw them as potential allies and converts, people who could help him achieve his grand ambitions. They traded gifts, smiled at each other even though they didn't trust each other, and that's how a complicated and sad story began. The initial exchanges were friendly but tinged with underlying tension and mistrust. These interactions would set the stage for a complex and often tragic relationship between the two cultures. Columbus, wanting gold, saw these islands as a source of incredible riches. His eyes gleamed with the prospect of wealth, and he was determined to find the gold he believed was hidden in this new land. He thought gold was hidden in the forests, just waiting for him to take it. He led expeditions into the dense jungles, driven by the hope of discovering vast quantities of gold and other treasures. He wanted gold, and he wanted to teach people about God, and those two big desires made him blind to what he had really found. Columbus was torn between his quest for material wealth and his mission to spread Christianity. This inner conflict would shape his actions and decisions, often leading to devastating consequences for the indigenous people he encountered. Journal entries inside Columbus's head. Columbus kept journals. They're full of his thoughts, hopes, and reasons for doing what he did. They give us a look inside his mind. "These people are very unskilled in fighting," he wrote, showing how Europeans thought they were better than everyone else. "With 50 men, we could control them all and make them do whatever we want." But even though he thought he was better than them, he also admired them. "They are so trusting and generous with everything they have," Columbus wrote, surprised by the Taino people's kindness. "They would make good servants," he added, and those words show the bad things that were going to happen. Columbus wanted gold, but he was also really interested in this new world. He wasn't sure if what he was doing was right, even for his religion. His journals show this struggle inside him. They show a man who was smart, but also made a lot of mistakes. The Taino people. Two worlds collide. The Taino people were peaceful, living in harmony with their surroundings. They had a deep connection to the land and the sea, which provided them with everything they needed. They lived on the Caribbean islands, following the rhythms of nature. Their days were filled with fishing, farming, and crafting, all done with a sense of respect for the environment. They were curious and careful when they met Columbus and his men. The sight of the large ships on the horizon was both fascinating and intimidating to them. Their world, full of old traditions and spiritual beliefs, was about to change forever. The Taino had rich ceremonies and rituals that connected them to their ancestors and the natural world. Columbus talked about trading and told them about his God. He offered trinkets and goods that were strange and new to the Taino, who were both intrigued and cautious. The Taino thought he was powerful but also a little bit clueless. They could see that he did not understand their ways or the true value of their land and resources. They had a rich culture and their lives were connected to nature. Every aspect of their daily activities, from cooking to crafting, was done with a sense of community and respect for the earth. They were good artists, and their pottery and carvings showed how much they respected the spirits around them. Their art was not just decorative but also held deep spiritual significance. Their leaders were chosen from their families, and they believed in working together and protecting nature. Leadership was based on wisdom and the ability to maintain harmony within the community. When Columbus arrived with his powerful weapons, his need for gold and his strange beliefs, their peaceful lives were shattered. The Taino were not prepared for the violence and greed that followed. They had welcomed him at first because they were curious, and it was polite to welcome strangers. Hospitality was a core value for the Taino, and they hoped for a peaceful exchange. But that welcome would soon turn into fear, then fighting back, and finally, despair. The clash of worlds brought devastation to the Taino, who struggled to protect their way of life against overwhelming odds. Columbus's voyages marked the beginning of an era of exploration and conquest, forever changing the course of history. His journeys opened the door to the European colonization of the Americas, bringing new opportunities and wealth to Europe, but also leading to profound consequences for the indigenous populations. The legacy of Christopher Columbus is a complex and often controversial one. For centuries he was celebrated as a pioneering explorer, a symbol of bravery and adventure. Many nations and cultures honored him with statues, holidays, and place names, viewing him as a hero who connected the old world with the new. However, as our understanding of history deepened, so too did the scrutiny of Columbus's actions and their impact. The arrival of Europeans led to the widespread devastation of native populations through disease, warfare, and enslavement. Columbus himself was involved in the brutal treatment of the Taino people, and his quest for gold and glory set a precedent for the exploitation and oppression that followed. Today, the legacy of Columbus is debated and reevaluated. Some argue that he should still be remembered for his navigational achievements and the daring spirit of exploration that he embodied. Others call for a more critical examination of his role in history, acknowledging the suffering and destruction that accompanied his voyages. In recent years, there has been a movement to replace Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day, shifting the focus to honoring the cultures and histories of the native populations affected by European colonization. This change reflects a growing recognition of the need to tell a more balanced and inclusive story of our past. Columbus remains a figure of both admiration and controversy. His voyages undeniably reshaped the world, but they also serve as a reminder of the darker aspects of human ambition and the costs of progress. As we remember Christopher Columbus, it is essential to hold both his achievements and his transgressions in our collective memory, learning from the past to build a more just and equitable future. The story of Columbus is a story of discovery and destruction, of courage and cruelty. It challenges us to reflect on the dual nature of human endeavors and to strive for a world where exploration and advancement go hand in hand with respect and empathy for all peoples. And so, Columbus's legacy endures, a testament to the profound and lasting impact one man's journey can have on the world, and a call to carefully consider the paths we choose to follow in our own time.